Michigan Magazine is kept on the road by our many Michigan friends. Cops and Donuts Bakery, downtown Clare, a winning combination. Cops and Donuts. Something special's cooking, hot and delicious. Indulge yourself at Morning at Maggie's in Bay City. Omelets, frittatas, hotcakes, and more. Make every day special with a stop at Morning at Maggie's for breakfast or lunch on Saginaw in Bay City. Luzerne Express Campground is the premier campground with everything to make your northern adventure complete. Modern and rustic campsites, equestrian campers welcome, a huge market with bakery and deli. Nearby RV, hiking, and horse trails, along with a complete canoe, raft, and kayak rental. Visit us online, then call for more information and reserve your spot today. On this week's Michigan Magazine, we share with you a Northern Michigan destination where molten glass becomes works of art. We're heading to Jordan Valley Glass Works in East Jordan, Michigan. Watch as the talented crew create beautiful blown glass masterpieces. Then our Oxford, Michigan correspondent, Teri Stiles, visits with an extraordinary world-class chainsaw carver who calls Oakland County home. It's all coming up on Michigan Magazine. Cops and Donuts Bakery, downtown Clare. What began as a crazy idea among 9 police officers to purchase the historic Clare City Bakery quickly became an international phenomenon, carrying on a Michigan tradition with delicious donuts, pies, pastries, breads, original coffee, and more. Plus a full menu at the new adjacent Traffic Stop Diner. Downtown Clare, a winning combination. Cops and Donuts.
On a previous edition of Michigan Magazine, we took you to the Jordan Valley Glass Works, where we visited with Jay Babers and Glenna Haney, and many other members of this incredible artistic glass creating team. From stained glass to glass blowing, this East Jordan, Michigan operation is drawing statewide attention by not only creating one-of-a-kind works, but also opening up the operation for visitors to stop by and see the actual creativity going on. Besides Glenna and Jay, there are 3 other Baber family members involved in the operation. Shelley, who specializes in personal adornment and jewelry. Bill Babers, who likes to specialize in solid glass art. And Beth Babers, whose forte is stone wheeling, engraving, and sandblasting, especially deep sand carving. Rounding out this unusual talented group are Ruth Ann Grismaker and Mike Predevil. Ruth creates sun catchers and crystal-leaded glass bevels, and Mike contributes his talent into displaying and presenting wildflowers into bouquets and legendary lamps and shades. On this edition, join us as we witness another Jordan Valley Glassworks creation come into being from the raw glass to masterpiece.
And we all take turns. Billy and Glenn and myself were all glass blowers. In fact, they're both award-winning glass blowers. So we do take turns, whoever is gaffing or the person in charge. I happen to be the one in charge right now. They decided I was better looking, so I would blow for you. The gaffer is the guy in charge. He tells people what to do, basically. But she tells the gaffer how to set it up and what she expects done. We have a tank of about 200 pounds of glass in there that we made last night. And we start off with a little bit of glass on the end of the pipe, and this is a hollow tube. These blocks are made by a fellow that's been making these blocks out of trees for 60 years in West Virginia. These help shape and cool off the initial gather of glass.
Is that a certain type of wood?
Absolutely. Cherry wood works the best, and all of these are made out of cherry wood. We'll put a little bubble in there, and that'll give us our start. Then we'll put more glass, more color, more glass, and blow it out bigger. We just have to let this cool a little bit. This shouldn't be called glass blowing, it's glass forming. It's a little bit of blowing and a lot of forming and manipulating and color and surface design. So give it just a little bit and we'll get another gather.
How many glass blowers are in the state of Michigan? Do you have any idea, Jay?
No, there might be 30. Michigan is a pretty big state, most of them in Detroit, and many of them, now we're talking about glass blowers that blow out of a furnace. There are also glass blowers that blow scientifically in tubes from a torch, and that's different than this. We can tell by the color of the glass how cold it is, so I'll wait for it to get rid of a little bit of that orange, and then we'll get another gather of glass, and then we'll start picking color up on here and then design the surface.
Okay. Any surprises in your 40-some years of experience with glass blowing?
The biggest surprise is that we've been doing this for so many years. That's 15 years here in East Jordan, not open to the public, and it's just been a lot of fun for us. And all of a sudden we open to the public and it's been a happening. You know, it's like something totally different. I'll tell you, Del, you hit it right on the head when you said you've seen other glass blowers, but our colors are really amazing. It's real simple. The glass costs 49 cents a pound. The color can run $200 a pound. Most people that use glass anywhere, whether it's commercially or artistically, will try to get by with as little color as possible, and they still do beautiful work with light color. I happen to like lots of bright color, and we have a following that like a lot of bright color. There are people that come in and say, you know, I like it just with just a touch of color, and we can do that. But you're absolutely right. We use a huge amount of color here, and we pay the bill for it too. Next, our gas bill. The color is the biggest bill. So we roll it in the glass, then we drip some off. So it's just the amount that we want on there. Now we're getting a background color. This color is made actually with nickel and selenium. We have a couple of colors that we've developed ourselves that we won't tell. There are only a few secrets here. A lot of the color comes from Germany. The color that we don't make comes from Germany. The glass comes from North Carolina. The blocks come from West Virginia. And we ship our product out all over the world, from Siberia to many of the Arab countries, South America, all over the United States.
You probably never thought at the time when you were growing up and you was under Grandpa's wings there that you'd end up probably being a glass blower?
No, not that many people found it as amazing as I did when I first saw it. You know, I always wanted to do it. My family always wanted me to be an artist, and I didn't do it professionally for a living until 15 years ago. Yeah, glass blowing started out 2,000 years ago in Israel and quickly dominated by the Italians. And the Italians moved all of their glass blowers to an island called Murano, which is famous today for glass blowing. and they kept all the trade for glass in the Mediterranean in Italy, so any ships that wanted glass had to go and trade in Murano. The glass blowers were treated like royalty. They could carry weapons when no one else could. They didn't have to pay taxes. And if they ever tried to leave the island, their families and they were killed. So they kept the secret of glass blowing. They kept the glass blowing there, but eventually it did get out.
Into the kiln it goes, right?
Yep.
And then we'll see some true colors once it comes out of there.
Yeah, tomorrow when it cools off, it'll be much cooler.
Okay.
Nice going.
Great job.
Good job, Glenna.
Jay and Glenna and the whole crew, this a family gathering. Jay, what can I say? It's been a pleasure for this guy to come to East Jordan and to meet you and your family, your lovely wife and children, and your partner, Glenna. Thanks for being part of Michigan Magazine, and I got to hold on to this.
Thanks a lot, Del.
Thank you. Thank you all for being part of our show.
Michigan Magazine is being brought to you in part by Northern Experience is never complete without a stop at the historic Ma Dieters of Luzerne. Enjoy the ambiance inside or outside on the huge patio area. Order from the complete menu with entrees served hot, fresh, and good. Come experience Ma Dieters in the heart of God's country, Luzerne, Michigan. The Michigan-made rebounding mailbox pole. Never again worry about the winter snowplow taking out your mailbox with this ingenious rebounding pole. Your mailbox takes a hit and keeps coming back year after year. Call now or visit their website, toughmailboxes.com. Clemix Sales and Service on Mapes Road, west of Mile, your complete recreational vehicle sales and service connection. Visit their beautiful showroom of new and pre-owned ATVs, lawnmowers, power equipment, snowmobiles, utility vehicles, and more. Clemix Sales and Service is also the home of the American-made Victory motorcycle line on display at Clemix on Mapes Road, Mile. Hale Hardware, your do-it-center in Hale, Michigan. Much more than a regular hardware store, providing everything you need for whatever your project is, along with a knowledgeable sales staff to get her done. Serving Northern Michigan since 1946. Hale Hardware, south of M65 at Ainsley in Hale.
Hi, Teri Stiles, correspondent for Michigan Magazine, and I'm here in Oxford, Michigan, way down this area, and I'm with one of our notable persons in Oxford, Michigan. I'm with Gary Elzerman, four-time Michigan State Championship wood carver. Gary, thanks for joining us today on Michigan Magazine.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming out and taking a look at what I do. Thank you.
For those of you who don't know, who may be new to the Oxford area, Gary Elzerman is a carver extraordinaire. Four-time state championships in carving competitions, right?
Yeah, four-time Michigan State champion, yeah.
Unbelievable. Are you still doing competitions?
No, I haven't done competitions for probably over 10 years. So it just got to the point that, you know, the competitions and the traveling and everything else, it just
Yeah, takes away from
yeah,
home.
takes away from home. So
I always hear, if you find what you love, try to make a career out of that. You've been able to do that. Let's go back to how that happened.
well, you know, basically the big thing is that I was diagnosed with dyslexia, and I found out that doing things with my hands, so
Made sense.
Yeah, you know, so from a very young age, I started actually playing with butter, carving butter. And then, of course, I went to, became a chef and did a lot of ice carvings, pumpkins, chocolate. And at the time that I started my chainsaw carving, I did it as a favor. Didn't even really want to do it. I was a chef at the time and doing ice. And, you know, I did one carving on Lake Orion, and next thing I knew, I was, you know, doing it full-time from doing the one to going full-time about 3 months. There's no two pieces of the wood the same, kind of like humans, you know, it's a living organism, and you get to actually repurpose it instead of it just, you know, if a tree dies, it doesn't have to just go to firewood or pulp or whatever, landfills. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Basically here in Michigan, you know, I like to use white pine. White pine's our state tree. And pretty much I'll carve any type of wood here in Michigan. Say you had an oak tree at your house that died. I would come and actually carve it. There's a few woods you don't want to carve because they just don't have longevity. For instance, a cottonwood. It's really not a tree, it's a weed.
It's soft.
People don't know. And it's not, you know, it never, it's a weed, and the weather would rot it. So pine seems to last one of the longest things out, you know, woods that we have here in Michigan. There was talk of me actually getting a large piece of redwood from California for a client, but it was going to cost like $15,000 to get it out here.
Oh,
so
wow.
it became sort of
prohibitive.
Yeah. We're not fortunate to have big 5-foot trees and, you know, 6-foot in diameter trees here in Michigan. So really you have to work with the size of the logs that we have here.
Ah, right. And so you do this solo, speaking of that.
Correct.
And do you have an apprentice or anything?
No, you know, over the years a lot of people have asked, but you know, I'm always willing to share my knowledge. The only thing is it's a chainsaw, and you know, you only get one shot. If it bites you, if you get cut by a chainsaw, it's usually pretty bad. And it's one of those. It's just there's a lot of ifs and whats. So no, it's one of those things that you know I don't want my kids doing it. I'll put it to you that way.
What do you see? How do you come up with the visions that you have? Are you working on what your client wants, or a drawing, or something in your head? I hear a lot of people say, oh, I just look at the wood and it speaks to me and it becomes a mermaid, etc. How does that happen? What's that process?
The process basically for me now is I used to have to carve. I used to start off carving bears, you know, things like that. But now I'm 99% commissioned work. So, for instance, you know, the octopus or the pirate or the things that you'll see at the studio today, these are all sculptures that are going out. So more so it's about picking the wood for the size, the diameter, and the height of the carving.
That they've requested.
Right.
Okay.
For instance, you know, like today I had a small eagle to carve. Okay, just a perched eagle that a lady's going to put on a tree. Where now I've got a big howling wolf with a moon scenery for a guy that I'm matching his tattoo. So, you know, the neat thing about the progression of work has been you're not limited to coming to me and going, oh, you know, a bear, you know, like you would see up north. Nothing wrong with that. But, you know, now it's things like I just finished a beautiful carving of 4 different birds in a tree, and each one of the birds has a personality like their children. So each one represents one of their children. So that's the neat thing about where my artwork's gone, is that there's nothing that I won't sculpt.
Okay, that was my next question. Is anything to?
Well, I've done likenesses of people, all the way down to the whole Winnie Pooh collection. It really.
I've seen that.
Right. So,
yeah.
I mean, I do get some pretty different calls. I just carved a couple likeness of horse heads that were grave markers. So.
Oh, lovely.
So, like I said, it's just. Whatever you can think of, I can pretty much carve. So.
And your talent is tapping into that emotion.
Well, yeah,
of
because
what they need from
exactly,
you.
because it's just not a bear.
Yeah.
You know, you'll get people that stop by and are looking for a gift that for somebody, but generally the people that get my artwork today are looking for something that obviously they can't get at Walmart or any other place. And a great one that I just finished up, which the community should be so excited about, is we have the big Lake Orion Oxford football game coming up Friday. And so they approached me and they wanted a trophy that would go back and forth.
Oh, nice.
So on one side I've got a Lake Orion, one side I've got an O and a football, so whoever wins, they just put that side out.
Perfect.
So it just,
now, did you design that, or is that?
I designed it, right.
Oh,
so yeah, something like that, it just kind of comes to me. You know, like I said, that's the fun process. And you can't really draw anything like that because a lot of times things change. I give people an idea.
Do you have a favorite?
Well, the octopus was pretty cool.
That was pretty darn good.
I probably had 1,000 people stop and take pictures. Well, you know, people have a real emotion to bigger carvings, you know. Some of my favorites are always the inspirational story where I carved 4 wolves coming out of flames, it looked like the flames were busting these small wolves, and then there was a big wolf come busting out, and it was a story of a lady that had lost 4 children. And then they had a child, and that child rising out of the flames was their child. People see something, but they love it, but then it's like, well, that's what I want. So.
But I have a feeling you have a need to satisfy what the people need from you.
Right.
I think you can say that you want to slow down a bit, but I think emotionally or in your heart you're not going to be able to do that for a while, and I'm grateful for that because I like seeing you around here.
Thanks for joining us in Michigan Magazine. Don't forget, our next Uncle Cliff's Kitchen filming is April 16th at the Maytag Kitchen Studio in Saginaw on Tittabawassee. Filming will be from 10 till 2. You're invited to be a part of our studio audience. Now for the phrase of the week, a little reminder from Michigan Magazine. It's that time of the year. Don't be a fool this April 1st. You know the drill. Send it along to us at the addresses you see here on the screen for your chance to win some great Michigan prizes. Have a great week, and we'll see you on the next edition of Michigan Magazine. We'd like to thank all those that help keep Michigan Magazine on the road. Cops and Donuts Bakery, downtown Clare, a winning combination. Cops and Donuts. Experience the beauty, artistry, and taste of Northern Michigan. Come to Amish Country Natural Products on Mount Tom Road, north of Mile, just off M33. From arts and crafts to fresh foods and vegetables, all natural, all local, all good. Stop by and get acquainted with Amish Country Natural Products, 1454 North Mount Tom Road, Mile. Rose Valley Winery on Beechwood Road in Rose City. See what thousands are raving about, creating a delicious variety of award-winning Michigan wines. Stop by and taste for yourself. The taste of Michigan is yours at Rose Valley Winery. Flu season. Be prepared. Get your immunizations now at Rose City Drug, your one-stop pharmacy, home health care, and medical supply outlet, offering a variety of on-site immunizations. Walk-ins are of course welcome. Call now for more information.